Every night in Ashford, one house disappears before sunrise. The building vanishes without fire, rubble, or broken foundations. Neighbors remember an empty lot where a family once lived. Only one person remembers the missing houses clearly. City surveyor Marcus Hale keeps maps that refuse to change. His oldest map marks 27 homes, no longer standing. Each vanished address shares one impossible detail. A bus stop appears outside the house the night before. The sign carries a faded blue number, 6. No official route in Ashford uses that number. The city removed Route 6 32 years ago. It ended after an entire neighborhood disappeared from public records. Marcus first noticed the pattern while inspecting a condemned street. Across the road stood a house missing from every database. A family watched him silently through the front window. Beside the curb stood a newly installed bus sign. The number 6 glowed beneath peeling blue paint. Marcus photographed the houses and recorded it. At midnight, an old bus arrived without making a sound. Its headlights remained dark as it stopped at the curb. Nobody left the house, but the curtains began moving. Every room inside went dark. One after another, the family appeared in the doorway, holding packed suitcases. They walked toward the bus without looking up at Marcus. The youngest child dropped a red wooden toy beside the steps. Marcus shouted, but none of them reacted. The family boarded and sat behind fogged windows. The driver wore a blue uniform covered in white dust. The bus pulled away while the house lights died. Marcus watched the building fade into the rain. By sunrise, only an empty lot remained. Police records showed no family had lived there. Marcus still held the child's red wooden toy. He returned to City Hall and searched old planning archives. Route 6 once served the vanished district of North Ashford. One winter night, every resident disappeared before dawn. Officials blamed an evacuation caused by a gas leak, but no evacuation order could be found anywhere. The Route 6 driver was listed as Samuel Hale. Samuel was Marcus's grandfather. Marcus had been told Samuel died in a highway accident. The archive photograph showed something completely different. Samuel stood beside the same black and blue bus. Behind him, North Ashford still filled the horizon. On the photograph's back was one handwritten sentence. The last stop is always the house that remembers. Marcus took the photograph home before the archive closed. That night, the red wooden toy began rolling by itself. It crossed his floor and stopped beside the front door. Outside, a Route 6 sign stood beside his driveway. Marcus had never seen a bus stop near his house. His mailbox number had already begun fading. Rooms behind the people became empty white spaces. Marcus called his sister and asked about their childhood home. She insisted their family had always lived somewhere else. His own memories were becoming the final record. At 12:06, the old bus appeared at the end of the street. It moved slowly, beneath the rain, without headlights. Every house it passed lost one illuminated window. The bus stopped directly in front of Marcus. Its doors opened toward him like a waiting mouth. Inside sat families from the vanished addresses. They held luggage and stared straight ahead. The child from the previous night sat near the front. She still wore the same wet red coat. Marcus stepped aboard while holding the wooden toy. The doors closed before his feet left the final step. His house began fading behind the bus windows. Rows of passengers disappeared into blue darkness. Each family carried pieces of homes that nobody remembered. Framed portraits, house keys, curtains, and broken clocks filled the seats. The driver remained motionless behind a dusty partition. A ticket machine printed Marcus's address by itself. Beneath the address appeared the words, "Final property." Marcus understood. Route 6 did not collect people first. It collected the places that proved they had existed. Once the house disappeared, the people followed from memory. The passengers were families trapped inside their last address. The bus traveled through streets erased from every map. North Ashford appeared outside the windows beneath blue fog. Every missing home stood exactly where it once belonged. At the center of the district stood Marcus's childhood house. His mother waited outside, holding an old family photograph. She had died when Marcus was 12 years old, yet she looked younger than he remembered. Samuel Hale stood beside her in the driver's blue uniform. The real driver was not sitting at the wheel anymore. Marcus turned and saw the driver's seat standing empty. Samuel's voice came through every speaker inside the bus. He explained that North Ashford had never been evacuated. The city sacrificed the district to contain something beneath it. Route 6 carried the homes away before the ground opened. Samuel kept driving because one house had escaped. That final house belonged to Marcus's family. The thing beneath North Ashford had been searching for it. Now the route had returned to finish the map. Outside, black cracks spread beneath the vanished neighborhood. Something enormous moved below the foundations. Marcus's mother held out the old family photograph. Samuel ordered Marcus to choose what the world would remember. He could save his house by replacing another address, or he could erase the entire route forever. Marcus placed the red wooden toy into the ticket machine. The machine screamed as its gears crushed the wood. Every printed address inside the bus began burning blue. The passengers finally turned toward Marcus together, their faces filled with relief instead of fear. The bus windows shattered into white dust. Marcus pulled the emergency lever beside the rear door. The vanished district collapsed into darkness behind him. He jumped from the bus onto his own front lawn. At sunrise, his house still stood beneath the rain. Every missing family returned to the city records. But North Ashford remained an empty field. Marcus opened the restored archive photograph that evening. Samuel was gone from beside the bus. Someone else now stood behind the driver's window. The new driver wore Marcus's surveyor jacket. Outside, a blue Route 6 sign appeared across the street. His mailbox number began fading for the second time. At exactly 2:13, every morning, an empty bus crosses Blackwood Bridge. There is no driver behind the wheel. There are no lights inside. And according to the city, Route 13 was permanently cancelled 27 years ago. But last winter, a night shift nurse named Emily Carter got on that bus. 3 days later, police found her beneath Blackwood Bridge. She was alive. She was still holding her bus ticket, and she had aged more than 40 years. Emily Carter left St. Mercy Hospital shortly after 2 in the morning. Snow drifted through the empty streets, covering parked cars in thin white sheets. Her phone had died during her shift. The last subway had already departed. All she wanted was to go home, take a hot shower, and sleep. At the corner of Mason Street, Emily noticed an old bus shelter. She had walked past it hundreds of times, but had never seen a bus stop there. A faded metal sign hung above the shelter. It showed one number, 13. Emily checked her watch. 2:12 in the morning. Behind the glass wall sat an elderly woman wearing a dark red coat. Her hands rested neatly on a wooden cane. A thin veil covered her face. Emily stepped inside. "Does the night bus still stop here?" she asked. The woman did not move. For several seconds, the only sound was snow striking the glass. Then, the woman whispered, "It stops for those who have nowhere else to go." Through the falling snow, 2 pale headlights appeared. An old city bus approached without making a sound. No engine, No tires grinding against the snow. Nothing. The bus stopped, and its doors folded open. Warm yellow light spilled onto the sidewalk. Above the windshield, the destination display read, Route 13, Blackwood. Emily climbed aboard. Before the doors closed, she looked back. The elderly woman remained inside the shelter, her face pressed against the glass. Beneath her black veil, Emily could see that she had no eyes. The bus smelled of wet wool and burned matches. A driver sat behind a scratched plastic screen. He wore an old-fashioned grey uniform and a round cap. Emily could not see his face in the mirror. Only darkness. "How much?" she asked. The driver raised one pale hand. In his palm lay a small brass coin. Emily searched her pockets and found a coin she did not recognize. It was cold enough to hurt her fingers. One side showed the number 13. The other showed a closed human eye. The driver took it. A paper ticket slid from the machine. It was blank except for her full name, Emily Ann Carter. "How do you know my name?" she asked. The driver closed the plastic screen. The bus began to move. 7 passengers sat inside. A young soldier with blood on his collar, a little girl holding a headless doll, a businessman whose suit dripped river water, a bride in a white dress covered in grey ash, 2 teenage boys sitting perfectly still, and an old man with a hospital bracelet around his wrist. None of them appeared to breathe. Outside, familiar streets slowly disappeared. Shops became abandoned buildings. Streetlights flickered over roads Emily had never seen. Her dead phone suddenly turned on. There was no signal and no battery icon. Only a message. "Do not miss your stop." Emily pressed the red stop button. Nothing happened. She pressed it again. Every passenger turned toward her at the same time. The little girl smiled. "You can't leave before the bridge," she said, "because the driver hasn't decided if you're alive yet." The bus stopped outside a burned apartment building. The destination display changed to Miller Street, 1987. The bride stood. Ash fell from her clothes like black snow. As she passed Emily, she whispered, "If you hear someone you love outside, don't answer." The doors opened. A wedding party waited on the sidewalk. Every person was burning. Flames moved across their bodies without consuming them. They clapped silently as the bride stepped off. Then the burning crowd disappeared into the snow. Emily ran toward the driver. "Let me off." He did not respond. She struck the plastic screen. "Stop the bus!" In the mirror, the darkness beneath his cap shifted. For 1 second, Emily saw his face. There was no skin. Only a smooth black surface with a wide vertical crack where his mouth should have been. The old man with the hospital bracelet grabbed her wrist. "Sit down," he said. "He doesn't like noise." Emily looked at his bracelet. Daniel Carter, her father's name. Her father had died when she was 9 years old. "Dad?" The old man tightened his grip. "Emily, listen to me. When we reach Blackwood Bridge, the driver will ask where you belong. You must say you belong with the living, no matter what you see. Do not ask him to take you back." The bus continued through streets buried beneath decades of snow. Each stop belonged to a different year. At one corner, factory workers waited beneath a sign dated 1954. At another, children in school uniform stood under a blood-red moon. The soldier stepped off beside a battlefield. The 2 teenage boys departed near the twisted remains of a car. The windows began to fog from the outside. Words appeared in the condensation. "Emily, come home." A familiar voice called from beyond the glass. It belonged to her mother, who had died 6 months earlier. Outside the window, Her mother walked beside the moving bus. She wore the blue dress Emily remembered from childhood. She looked healthy and young again. "Please," her mother said. "Don't leave me alone." Emily reached toward the window, but her father caught her hand. "That isn't her." Her mother's smile widened. Her jaw stretched lower than any human jaw could. Black water poured from her mouth. "She blamed you," the thing whispered. Emily shut her eyes. The creature struck the glass. Once, twice. Then dozens of hands appeared outside the windows. Dead relatives. Former patients. People Emily had failed to save. They pounded the bus and screamed her name. The driver laughed. It sounded like metal dragging across concrete. The bus reached Blackwood Bridge at exactly 2:13. Below it, the frozen river looked completely black. The bus stopped halfway across. All the doors opened. Snow blew through the aisle. The driver slowly stood. He was impossibly tall. His head nearly touched the ceiling. The vertical crack in his face opened. Inside was a tunnel filled with distant human voices. "Emily Ann Carter," he said. "Where do you belong?" Her father squeezed her hand. "With the living," Emily answered. The driver tilted his head. "Then why did you carry the fare?" A memory returned. Emily standing outside her mother's hospital room. A doctor telling her she was too late. Emily sitting alone in the chapel and whispering that she wanted to see her mother. Again, she had found the strange coin beside a candle. The driver extended his hand. "You asked for passage." Emily shook her head. "I was grieving." The driver pointed through the open doors. Her childhood home stood beyond the bridge. Warm light glowed in its windows. Her mother waited in the doorway. Her father stood beside her, young, smiling, and alive. A dinner table waited behind them. It was everything Emily had lost. "Come home," her mother said. Emily stepped toward the open door. Her father on the bus held her back. "That place is made from your memories. If you enter, it will feed on them until you forget who you are." The driver extended one long hand. "One step, and you will never be alone again." Emily, her Twiniras, her father remembered Christmas mornings, her father carrying her on his shoulders, and her mother singing while she cooked. She remembered the last voicemail her mother had left. Emily had been too busy to answer. "I should have been there," Emily whispered. Her father's frozen fingers closed around hers. "You were there for hundreds of people who had no one else. But not for her. She knew you loved her." The driver moved closer. The lights inside the bus turned red. "You cannot save the dead," he whispered. "But you may join them." Emily looked at the passengers. Every one of them had chosen this bus because they could not release the past. Route 13 did not collect the dead. It collected the guilty, the lonely, and the grieving. People willing to trade tomorrow for one more moment yesterday. Emily tore her ticket in half. The bus screamed. Its metal walls bent inward like ribs. The driver's mouth opened from his chin to his forehead. "You paid the fare!" Emily threw both halves of the ticket through the open door. Belong with the living. The childhood home vanished. Her mother disappeared. The bridge began to collapse onto the Black River. The driver lunged. Her father pushed her through the rear doors. Emily fell into the snow. As the bus tipped over the edge, she saw her father through the window. He was smiling. His lips formed 3 silent words. "Go live, Emily." Then Route 13 disappeared beneath the ice. A police officer found Emily beneath Blackwood Bridge 3 days later. She was standing barefoot in the snow. Her nurse's uniform was dry. Her body temperature was normal. but her hair had turned completely white and deep wrinkles covered her face. Diddled her fart. According to hospital records, Emily was 29. The woman beneath the bridge appeared to be at least 70. Emily claimed that she had spent more than 40 years trying to escape. Every night, the bus returned. Every night, the driver asked where she belonged, and every night she gave the same answer. With the living doctors, placed Emily in a psychiatric facility. She refused to sleep after 2 in the morning. She covered every buoy or Karma-trot, ate every mirror in her room. Whenever she heard a vehicle outside, she began tearing pieces of paper in half. 6 weeks later, a nurse entered Emily's room and found it empty. The window was locked. The door had never opened. On the bed lay a single brass coin. One side showed the number 13. The other showed an open human eye. The following morning, the city received reports of an old bus traveling through the snow. Witnesses said it had no license plate, no driver, and only one passenger. An elderly woman wearing a nurse's uniform sat near the rear exit. She pressed both hands against the window. She appeared to be screaming, but the bus made no sound. At 2:13, it crossed Blackwood Bridge and disappeared. The city searched its transportation archives. Route 13 had existed. It was cancelled after a bus crashed through the bridge railing in December of 1999. 13 passengers died. The driver's body was never recovered. Investigators found a photograph taken shortly before the accident. The driver stood beside the bus. Behind him, staring through the rear window, sat an elderly woman with white hair. She wore a nurse's uniform. Her name was Emily Carter.
So, if you ever find yourself waiting alone after midnight
and an unfamiliar bus arrives without making a sound, do not look at the route number. Do not accept a ticket. And whatever you do, do not tell the driver that you want to go home, because Route 13 always takes its passengers home, just not to the year they came from. Every night at exactly 1:41 a.m., an old evacuation bus appears on Briar County Road. It stops beside a sign for a town that no longer exists. Hollow Creek vanished after the flood of 1986. 9 people were declared dead. An evacuation bus disappeared from Millstone Bridge. The driver's body was never recovered. Last month, highway mechanic Noah Vance saw the bus. He stopped for a child standing in the rain. Before sunrise, deputies found Noah 6 miles away. He was barefoot, shaking, and unable to speak. He carried a lunchbox bearing his dead sister's name. Noah had left the county repair yard after 1. A storm had emptied every road in Briar County. His headlights swept across wet asphalt and broken guardrails. Noah had driven this route for years. He knew every bend, every ditch, every abandoned turnoff. But he had never seen the bus shelter. It stood half-buried beneath vines and weeds. A bent sign hung above the roof. Hollow Creek, last stop. The town had been abandoned for 40 years. There should have been nothing here. Then Noah saw the girl. She wore a torn yellow raincoat. A rusted lunchbox rested against her chest. Noah reached for his truck door. Before he opened it, headlights appeared behind her. An old bus glided silently from the darkness. There was no engine sound. Its tires made no spray on the flooded road. It stopped beside the shelter. The doors folded open. The girl stepped aboard without looking back. Noah believed she was alone and in danger. He ran through the rain after her. He boarded as the doors began closing. Inside, the air smelled of river water, mud, and something that had been buried too long. Water dripped steadily from the ceiling. 5 passengers sat without moving. A waitress with river silt in her hair. An old man holding a ruined church program. A boy carrying an empty birdcage. A worker with one sleeve torn away. And the girl waited in the last row. The driver sat behind a cloudy plastic screen. His uniform bore an emergency transit patch, but his face remained hidden in darkness. Noah told the driver to stop. The driver did not move. The ticket machine clicked by itself. A wet paper transfer slid from the slot. Route 7, Hollow Creek. October 14th, 1986. 1:41 in the morning. It was the exact night of the flood. Noah walked toward the girl. The name on her lunchbox became visible. Ellie Vance. His sister had died at 8 years old. Noah had not seen the lunchbox since that night. The girl slowly raised her head. Her skin was colorless. Her eyes were darker than the river. "You came back," she whispered. Noah asked where she had found it. "You gave it to me when the water rose." Outside the windows, the forest disappeared. Drowned houses replaced the trees. Telephone poles leaned beneath the black water. Empty storefronts flashed beneath the lightning. Noah said it was impossible. The waitress answered without turning. "Everyone on this route says that." The destination display began changing. Main Street. Church Hill. Millstone Bridge. Figures waited beside every flooded stop. Some carried suitcases. Some carried sleeping children. Others only watched the bus pass. The passengers inside never blinked. The old man finally turned toward Noah. "You should not have boarded for the dead." "I boarded for a child," Noah answered. The old man gave him a broken smile. "That is how it always begins." Ellie opened the rusted lunchbox. Inside lay a red ribbon. A cracked toy bus. And a bracelet from the county fair. Noah remembered the flood sirens. He remembered holding Ellie's hand. He let go to help an elderly woman. When he turned back, Ellie was gone. "Why did you let me go?" she asked. "I thought I could find you again." The driver laughed like water inside a pipe. At exactly 1:41, the bus reached Millstone Bridge. The rain stopped all at once. The bus stopped halfway across. The doors opened onto a town restored by memory. Noah's parents waited at the end of the bridge. Ellie stood beside them, alive and smiling. "This time, do not let go." Noah rose and moved toward the open doors. The driver unfolded from his seat. His face was split like black river ice. This route returns what grief refuses to bury. The girl behind Noah spoke softly. If you stay, you keep only the version that drowned. Noah closed the lunchbox and chose the living. He broke the rear window and jumped into the dark. At dawn, deputies found him holding a Route 7 transfer. The passenger list showed one empty seat, reserved for the survivor. Every disappearance leaves behind a question that nobody can answer. For decades, Grey Hollow carried the reputation of a town that lost its people. The missing cases seemed unrelated until one strange object appeared repeatedly. A faded bus ticket was always discovered near the last known location. No fingerprints were found on those mysterious pieces of paper. No witness could explain how the tickets appeared overnight. The route printed on them was called Route 0. A route that had never existed on any official map. A route that seemed to belong only to the forgotten. Last month, photographer Ethan Cole uncovered the impossible pattern. A package arrived outside his apartment without a name attached. Inside the package was an old roll of camera film. The film contained photographs from decades of unexplained disappearances. Ethan developed the first image beneath a red darkroom lamp. The photograph showed a lonely street during a violent storm. Hidden behind the rain stood an old black bus. The same bus appeared in another photograph from a different year. Then it appeared again in another town with another missing person. Different decades passed, but the vehicle never changed. Ethan placed every photograph across his investigation wall. He connected names, dates, and locations that nobody had linked before. Each person in the photographs disappeared within 7 days. The final image from the film disturbed him the most. It showed the inside of the mysterious bus. 6 silent passengers sat beneath weak yellow lights. A 7th passenger appeared in the last row. The person sitting there was Ethan himself. The photograph was dated 3 days into the future. Ethan knew he had never entered that bus before. But the camera showed a memory that had not happened yet. He searched every archive available in Grey Hollow. No transportation records mentioned Route 0. No company claimed ownership of the black bus. No accident report explained the missing passengers. The bus existed only through forgotten memories. Ethan followed the final photograph to a mountain road. The road had been abandoned for more than 20 years. Warning signs surrounded the entrance beneath the cold rain. But the photograph had brought him there for a reason. Near midnight, the entire forest disappeared into fog. Ethan waited beside the broken road barrier alone. The silence became heavier with every passing minute. Then 2 pale headlights appeared between the trees. An old black bus emerged from the endless mist. It moved without engine noise or tire marks. The vehicle stopped directly in front of Ethan. The doors opened before he touched the handle. Warm yellow light spilled onto the freezing road. Ethan lifted his camera and captured the impossible sight. The driver remained hidden behind a scratched plastic screen. A ticket machine suddenly activated by itself. A single paper ticket slowly appeared from the slot. Ethan Cole was printed across the top. Below his name was a departure date. The date was tomorrow. Ethan stepped onto the bus despite every warning inside him. The doors closed before he could change his mind. The mountain road vanished behind the fogged windows. 6 passengers were waiting inside the darkness. Each one carried a story that nobody remembered. A woman held a suitcase filled with old photographs. A firefighter sat quietly wearing a damaged uniform. An elderly teacher protected a stack of forgotten papers. A traveler stared at a phone that would never ring again. A young boy watched the darkness outside the glass. The final seat remained empty at the back of the bus. Ethan realized the empty seat was meant for someone. The passengers did not look like prisoners. They looked like people waiting to disappear. The bus did not steal people from the world. It collected people the world had already forgotten. Every passenger had once been invisible to everyone around them. The woman lost her family after years of silence. The firefighter vanished from memories after his final rescue. The teacher was forgotten by generations of former students. The traveler waited forever for a call that never arrived. The boy remained alone after everyone stopped searching. Route Zero arrived before their existence completely faded. Outside the windows, the road began changing around Ethan. The mountain disappeared and became a familiar neighborhood. His childhood street appeared beneath the midnight rain. The house where he grew up stood at the end of the road. Warm lights filled the windows like a forgotten dream. Ethan saw his family standing outside the entrance. He called their names, but nobody turned around. His mother walked past him without seeing his face. His father disappeared into the morning crowd. Old friends crossed the street like he was invisible. Even his reflection vanished from the bus window. The passengers watched Ethan understand the truth. The old teacher finally explained why the bus had arrived. Route Zero only stopped for the nearly forgotten. It found people who had slowly disappeared from others' lives. Ethan remembered every lonely night behind his camera. He remembered unanswered messages and empty celebrations. He remembered searching for missing people while being unnoticed himself. The driver finally turned away from the road. His face remained hidden beneath impossible darkness. When he spoke, the voice sounded exactly like Ethan. The driver asked why nobody had searched for him. Ethan looked toward the empty seat in silence. The ticket in his hand already felt like a farewell. The bus had not discovered him by accident. It had followed his loneliness for years. The empty seat had always been waiting for Ethan. The white symbol above the windshield began glowing brighter. The passengers watched him choose between staying and leaving. Ethan held the ticket one final time. He understood that being forgotten was not the same as being gone. But all his strength, he tore the ticket apart. The entire bus shook like something ancient had awakened. The passengers smiled for the first time. They were happy someone had escaped their fate. The doors opened onto the mountain road again. Cold fog rushed through the empty aisle. Ethan grabbed his camera and ran into the darkness. Behind him, the black bus disappeared without a sound. At sunrise, hikers found Ethan beside the closed road. In his pocket was half of a Route Zero ticket. The other half had vanished forever. Every fatal accident in Bellwether County begins with the same impossible warning. Exactly 11 minutes before impact, an empty bus appears near the road. The bus carries no passengers and displays no destination. Only a red number 11 glows above the windshield. Most witnesses notice it too late to understand. Paramedic Lena Ortiz first saw the bus during a winter storm. She was returning from a rescue call shortly after midnight. The highway ahead was empty beneath freezing rain. Then, the old bus appeared beside a broken guardrail. It waited with its doors open and its headlights dark. Lena slowed her ambulance, but did not stop. 11 minutes later, a tanker truck overturned behind her. Lena returned to the scene and found something strange. A wet bus ticket lay beneath the shattered guardrail. The ticket was stamped with tomorrow's date. Across the top was printed, Lena Ortiz. She kept the ticket and told nobody. The next night, another emergency call reached her station. A caller reported a bus stopped beside an abandoned intersection. The voice on the phone belonged to a frightened young man. Before Lena could trace the call, the connection ended. 11 minutes later, the intersection became a disaster site. A speeding car struck the caller's vehicle in the rain. Lena arrived and recognized the same black bus nearby. It vanished the moment she looked directly at it. Another ticket waited beneath the dead man's hand. This ticket carried the exact time of his death. Lena began searching county accident records after every shift. She discovered the bus in photographs spanning 50 years. It appeared before bridge collapses, fires, and highway crashes. The same red number 11 marked every sighting. No driver was ever visible behind the wheel. The bus was always gone before rescuers arrived. Lena mapped every sighting across Bellwether County. Each location connected one future accident to another. The final point on the map was Lena's ambulance station. She realized the route was moving toward her. At 3:06 the next morning, the station lights failed. Every radio inside the building began broadcasting static. Through the garage doors, two pale headlights appeared. The black bus stopped directly outside the station. Its doors opened without making a sound. Inside, the aisle stretched farther than the bus itself. Rows of empty seats disappeared into darkness. At the front, a ticket machine clicked awake. A new ticket slid slowly from the slot. It displayed Lena's name and the words, "Final stop." The departure time was 11 minutes away. Lena stepped aboard before fear could stop her. The doors closed and the station vanished behind her. The bus moved through streets that did not exist. Outside the windows, accidents unfolded before they happened. A bridge cracked beneath morning traffic. A school bus skidded toward a frozen river. At every scene, the black bus arrived first. Lena understood it was not predicting accidents. It was collecting the moment before death. Each seat waited for someone whose time had been marked. The bus stopped beside the first future accident. A young woman stood outside, beside a stalled car. She could not see Lena through the glass. A red ticket appeared on the empty seat beside her. 11 minutes remained before the crash. Lena pulled the emergency handle beside the door. Nothing happened, but the bus lights turned red. The road outside began moving faster beneath them. He wore an old paramedic uniform covered in ash. Yet, his face was hidden beneath a cracked oxygen mask. Lena recognized the badge attached to his chest. It belonged to her father, Daniel Ortiz. He had died in an ambulance fire 20 years earlier. The bus had appeared before his accident too. Lena understood why the driver had no visible face. He was built from every rescuer who arrived too late. The route carried their guilt from one death to another. The next accident appeared ahead through the rain. Lena saw her own ambulance racing toward the station. Behind the wheel sat another version of herself. The vehicle was carrying oxygen tanks and leaking fuel. The route ended where the station now stood. Every paramedic inside would die in 11 minutes. Lena looked at the ticket marked "Final Stop." The bus expected her to accept the accident. Instead, she tore the ticket across the red number. The windows shattered with a sound like screaming metal. Every empty seat suddenly filled with shadowy passengers. They were the people the bus had collected before death. The driver turned toward Lena as the aisle twisted. His oxygen mask split open from top to bottom. Inside was only darkness and distant emergency sirens. Lena ran toward the rear. The shadows reached for her from every seat. She struck the glass with a metal extinguisher. The rear window broke into the storms outside. Lena jumped as the bus crossed the station entrance. She landed hard on the frozen pavement. The black bus continued forward without slowing. It struck the approaching ambulance and vanished on impact. The explosion Lena had seen never happened. The ambulance rolled safely to a stop. Her co-workers found Lena beside the road before dawn. She still held half of the impossible ticket. The other half had burned into her palm. They showed Lena jumping from empty darkness. The next morning, every accident photograph changed. The black bus had disappeared from 50 years of records. For 3 quiet weeks, no warning tickets appeared. Then, Lena received it without a return address. Inside was a photograph of an unfamiliar mountain road. A black bus waited beside a tunnel in heavy snow. The red number 11 glowed above its windshield. This time, one passenger was visible inside. The passenger wore Lena's paramedic jacket. She was pressing both hands against the rear window. On the back of the photograph was a departure time. The time was 11 minutes from when Lena opened it. Outside her apartment, an engine began idling. 2 pale headlights appeared beneath the falling rain. Some accidents can be prevented, but the route never forgets. And Route 11 always returns for the person who escaped.